This video will take you through how to make a Future Me figure sculpture from beginning to end. So remember your rough draft. Please keep this handy as you work. We're going to start by creating the wire base figure. So you're going to get a really long piece of wire and we need to prep the ends. So you're going to take some pliers and bend it in so we don't poke ourselves in the eye or anyone else. Make sure you do that with both ends of your wire just to make it safe as you are making the wire base of your sculpture. So after you have done that, you're going to take both ends and find the halfway point of the wire. This is where you're going to create the head from. So you can see I bent it in half, and your head should be about the size of your thumb. So you're going to bend it and then twist at least 3 times to make the neck. So you have an oval shape that is the head of your sculpture. You're then going to use one side of the wire to make one arm. The other side I like to tuck underneath my arm to get it out of the way. I'm going to fold the wire back to create a loop for the hand, and then I'm going to twist it. I pinch at the underarm and twist at the hand. So you can see right there, that's what I'm doing. Then I'm going to tuck the wire that I just used under my arm to get out of the way. Use the other wire to make the other arm. So this is not from the same wire you just used to make the first arm. It's the other piece of wire. You're going to again make that loop and twist, and then you will have 2 arms. Then you'll have 2 longer pieces of wire left. Decide how long you'd like the torso, then twist the wires together at the hips. I find it's easier to twist the upper body instead of trying to twist the loose wires at the bottom. And then you're going to do the same thing for the legs. So separate them, make a loop, and twist to make the foot and the leg. You can see the wire is underneath my arm to get it out of the way. And then I'm going to do the same thing for the other leg. You can make the legs however long you would like. Remember Giacometti's legs on his sculptures were quite elongated. After you have twisted both legs, you will have some excess wire. You can see right there. You're going to add volume to your wire figure with that extra wire. You're going to use a pencil or other writing utensil to create this volume. If you just loosely twist the wire around the pencil, you can see I went down the pencil and back up the pencil to make that leg volume. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Put the pencil parallel to the wire, twist down, and then twist back up loosely so you can actually remove the pencil. And then I'm going to use a thicker tool like a marker to create the body volume. I'm twisting up. I'm not going to go back down because I want that wire to be used for volume on my arm. So just twisting up, one wire at a time. I'm going to remove the marker, and then I have some extra wire I can use to make volume on the arms, just like I did with the legs. If you do not have enough wire to do this, that is okay. Maybe you made your legs long. It really does not matter. You didn't do anything wrong. You are creating just a different sculpture. So once you have finished your wire figure, just make sure that every wire is tucked in and it is looking somewhat like this. After that, you are going to be adding some aluminum foil. This will give us some volume and it will make our figures just more full. You're going to be given 2 square sheets. You're going to rip the foil into strips to use for each body part. Rip your strips so they're as wide as the length of your wire figure's arm. So you can see here I'm actually using the arm as a measuring tool to make sure I ripped my aluminum foil well. Rip all your pieces first and then go back and add them to your sculpture. I like to start with adding the foil to the head and working my way down. You can technically do it however you like, but I feel like this method works pretty well. Just go slow. Take your time as you are adding the foil. I am only giving you 2 sheets, so please be wise as you are adding the aluminum foil. As you are adding foil to your piece and more towards the end, you can start to adjust your arms and legs into the position that you planned in your rough draft. Just make sure all of your wire is covered in foil. That will help the glue stick to it as we look towards our next step. You can see I don't have any foil on one of the feet. I will add that later. Again, model and shape your figure to be in the correct position once you are completely done with it. Our next step is going to be gluing your figure to the base. We need it to stand on something. So make sure you have it in the right position and stance, and then figure out how you would like to position your figure on the base. Do you want the base sideways, kind of like I have, or do you want it facing forward? It's really up to you. Then you are going to use your hot glue to apply glue to either the base or the bottom of the feet. It is your choice. I went with putting glue on the base there. If you feel more comfortable putting on the feet and pressing that down, that works too. Just be careful, the glue is hot and it can burn you, so just pay attention. Hold it down there, make sure the glue is able to set up, and then you can add glue over the top of the feet. This will help stabilize it and just give it a more solid foundation. Once you have glued your figure to the base, you're going to cover the figure with hot glue. You're going to add glue starting at the top. It is up to you, but I found that adding glue to the top of your figure is easiest, and then gravity is actually helping you instead of working against you. You can apply this however you would like. Just make sure that you cover the entire figure. Yes, this is a time-consuming process, so we need to persevere through this step of the project. I actually recorded a time lapse of this, but it did not save, so you don't see me doing the whole thing. I let it dry and then I came back to it the next day because the glue, I can actually see where it went and where I needed to cover again. You should not see any shiny aluminum after you have finished this step. You can also add glue to the base if you want a rough texture there instead of a smooth texture. I did not, but I wish I had. So on to painting your sculpture. You will be using tempera paint to paint your sculptures. You can mix your own color or use one straight from the bottle. It is up to you. I mixed a lilac color here that I will be using on my piece. When you are applying paint, dabbing the paint works best. Brushing the paint on will not work because of the texture of your sculpture. So you can see here I am working from the top again and letting gravity help me. If you are struggling with getting your piece covered, just let me know. I'd be happy to help you. Again, dabbing into the cracks of your sculpture is what is going to work best in this situation. Make sure you cover the base as well. I'm going to let that base dry and then come back and do a second layer over top of it. The next step for your sculpture is creating your paper object. Once you are done painting, you will create your object to add to your sculpture once it is fully dry. The object should be made out of at least 2 layers of paper. You can see on here I have 2 for my paint palette and 3 layers on my paintbrush, even though the last layer is pretty tiny. Take your time when you are cutting. If you need an X-Acto knife, that is a very helpful tool you can also use. Make sure not to use too much glue, as you will see that on your final product. Last things for you to do to finalize your sculpture. You are going to use a hot glue gun to glue the paper objects to your sculpture. Make sure that they are placed in a position that works best for your sculpture. You can see my paintbrush, I had to reevaluate where I wanted to put it so that it looked correct with the figure. Here is just a glimpse of what my final piece looks like. Let me know if you have any questions about any of these steps.